This One's Wife, Spanish Smackdown. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The mainstream media has reported on This One's Wife and Prince Harry, probably daily for the last few years. The reason they do this is that they know that there is a vast readership out there that wants to know about them. Some of that readership and viewership are supporters of This One's Wife and Harry. They like to know what's going on, and they want to know what they're doing, and they will speak favourably about it. There's a larger audience that don't like This One's Wife in particular, nor Harry, and as a consequence of that, certain aspects of the media cater to that dislike, that contempt, that disapproval of them. Either way, all these media organs care about is viewership and readership, because that then translates into money. Because after all, these are businesses. They want to sell to advertisers, and as a consequence of doing so, they will be able to state that their particular organ has a level of circulation, which means that they can charge a particular amount and therefore make money. And when it comes to This One's Wife and Harry, there's plenty of people, notwithstanding some degree of fatigue that has arisen in relation to these two, who continue to watch what they're doing, comment about what they're doing, read about what they're doing, and the media knows this. This is why they keep getting spoken about. If people stopped reading, if people stopped viewing, if people stopped commenting, they would go and report on other people. It would take some time before it would filter through, but that's essentially what would happen. And the fact that people remain invested, even if it is because they dislike the gruesome twosome, means they keep getting reported on, which means This One's Wife keeps getting the fuel that she receives. For instance, if we have a quick look at the titles of the news items appertaining today concerning This One's Wife and Harry in the United Kingdom, it directs us to Marie Claire UK. The royal family's latest concerns over Harry and This One's Wife's new Netflix deal. Sky News, why Sussex's new Netflix deal might not be the emotion the critics want it to be. The Telegraph, Netflix downgrades deal with Harry and This One's Wife. The Independent, This One's Wife and Prince Harry sign new Netflix deal to create thoughtful content. Those are just some of the titles that report on them. Daily Express, Prince Harry and This One's Wife's Netflix deal will concern royals for one huge reason, according to an expert. Daily Mail, royal fans accuse This One's Wife of copying Kate with festive new Netflix announcement. BBC, Harry and This One's Wife sign new multi-year Netflix deal. Accordingly, it's the new Netflix First Look that is dominating the media outlets in the United Kingdom. What about the United States? Well, the New York Times tells us Netflix signs new looser deal with Prince Harry and This One's Wife. The Hollywood Reporter, Netflix downgrades This One's Wife and Prince Harry to a first look deal, just like the Obamas. Variety, Prince Harry and This One's Wife extend their Netflix deal, page 6. Why Prince Harry and This One's Wife's new Netflix deal is another humiliating blow for much maligned royal exiles. Fox News, Prince Harry, This One's Wife compared to Obama's as new Netflix deal signals they've taken a bad hit. New York Post, This One's Wife, Prince Harry sign new Netflix deal after repeated flops, but it comes with restrictions. Good Morning America, Prince Harry, This One's Wife extend Netflix deal, announce upcoming projects. People.com, This One's Wife and Prince Harry extend Netflix deal. So everybody's talking about the Netflix deal that I have reported on separately. And that comes from the countries which are the origin of the gruesome twosome. But I thought, what about other countries? Did they have an interest in the duo? And if so, what have they got to say about them? As you've just heard from the various headlines that I've read out, they nearly all focus on Netflix and either just report the existence of an extended deal or a renewal of a deal but on different terms, or describe it as a downgrade and that it's not a good thing, dependent of course on the slant that they adopt in respect of This One's Wife and Harry. But I thought, what's the view elsewhere? Is there any interest in them in other countries, for instance, in South America? What about across Europe more generally? France, Germany, Norway, Sweden, Italy, and then Spain. And I happened upon an article which is rather interesting in respect of showing the attitude that at least one Spanish publication has in relation to this one's wife. It is called El Mundo, which I think means the world, and it's written, as you'd expect, because it's Spanish, in Spanish. But the translation tells us the following. The headline of the article is, "This one's wife doesn't stop, doesn't stop, doesn't stop." Which is quite a neat way, really, of summing up the narcissist, because the narcissist doesn't stop. You can stop them in relation to you by the imposition of a solid no-contact regime, so that the hoovers don't get through, that you're no longer abused, and that you ensure that as part of that no-contact regime, you don't talk about the narcissist, you don't do things in terms of monitor what the narcissist is doing, you don't think about the narcissist, and so you can move on. But the narcissist doesn't stop. They'll continue to find new appliances to draw into the fuel matrix. They'll hoover other people for fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. They go on controlling and controlling. And often, the narcissist engages in repetitive behavior because the narcissist lacks the ability to self-reflect and learn from mistakes, so just keeps repeating the behavior over and over again in the pursuit of the prime aims. And therefore, to suggest that this one's wife doesn't stop, doesn't stop, doesn't stop, is entirely apt. The article is not complimentary, and whilst this may not be representative of Spaniards' views as a whole, it's certainly not a good one for this one's wife and would amount to challenge fuel. The article tells us, when Pamela Anderson was asked a few days ago about accusations of plagiarism against this one's wife, she elegantly responded that she does her own thing. She also said that she, Pamela, had not invented cooking shows. This one's wife is accused of replicating a television format starring Anderson, a cooking show, one of many. Under other circumstances, something like this would be underground gossip that would barely be talked about. But in 2025, while it's still nonsense, it works well as a crossover between two opposing and unpredictable celebrity trajectories. With this one's wife clearly in decline, and Pamela Anderson redefined as the coolest girl on the planet, the fact that this one's wife can have a plus of meanness and Pam a plus of nobility is, at the very least, noteworthy. Ooh, ouch. This one's wife in decline. She's mean, where she's compared with the fragrant Pamela Anderson, the coolest girl on the planet, and she has nobility about her. Which, of course, is deliberately done, as this one's wife is married into the royal family and would think that she has nobility about her. Her behaviour demonstrates that she hasn't. The article continues by explaining the Suits actress continues trying to make a name for herself in pop culture, but it's trash culture that welcomes her most warmly. Ouch. On the contrary, Pamela Anderson, after a long journey through the wilderness, has been reborn as a star and as an actress. This one's wife and her husband, however, should be given a prize for persistence. Their deal with Netflix, which was supposedly ruinous and effectively cancelled, seems to have been renewed. They have new projects. Those two words any hungry celebrity utters more times a day than please and thank you very much. If those projects are as good as the ones they've already launched, Pamela Anderson didn't invent cooking, just as this one's wife and Harry didn't invent being annoying, but who would have thought it? A succinct article, but very much on the nose. The comparisons with Pamela Anderson will not go down well with this one's wife. The fact of the matter that this is critical of her, she may not come across it, of course, but once again it demonstrates that it's not just in the United Kingdom and the United States and perhaps Canada that talk about her, a little bit in Australia also, but even other countries where English isn't the first language have a view in respect of her, and it's not a good one, as this one's wife receives a Spanish Smackdown. She's seen as persistent, she's seen as useless, she's seen as in decline, and she's seen as annoying. All accurate, But of course, this one's wife just cannot see it. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.